The mounds are silent and unassuming. They do not speak of what happened here only this morning, let alone in days and years past. They are majestic, yet subdued, exclamations without a sound. So it has always been, so it may always remain. The controversy surrounding this place seems to be a force unto itself. One man cries hoax where another claims truth. Facts and convictions become confused. Certainties are disputed. And beneath it all, the mystery alone is enduring. How can any of us know what to believe?
Well, there is a limit, and this is a fact that's often overlooked. There is a limit as to just what science can describe. And this limit is what we can see, hear, and touch, all of the empirical evidence upon which we base our hypotheses. Beyond that, if we mean to be scientific, we must be humble. Where there is no physical evidence, we must keep our mouths shut. And regarding what John Patton Jr. said he found in Moundville 70 years ago, there is no evidence. Only the testimony of John Patton Jr. So then it becomes a matter of faith rather than fact. And frankly, I have no faith in the testimony of John Patton Jr. It just isn't reliable.
We review our facts over and over again, to no avail. This much can be verified by official records. In the late 1930s, the Civilian Conservation Corps began excavations at Mound State Monument in central Alabama, a legendary mound site now known as Moundville, and one of the centers of the prehistoric Mississippian Native American culture. It was as a CCC cadet that John Patton Jr. first encountered anthropology, and his devotion to studying the mounds began.
Those early days with the Corps were some of the happiest of my life. I carry them with me even now, and time between, and after Sean and Audrey killed, I was haunted. But through all those years, I kept quiet.
In 1938, two of Patton's fellow cadets were found dead under mysterious circumstances. Their story would later become central to the claim made by Patton in his infamous book, Buried in the Mounds, but this would not be written and published for more than 30 years. John Patton Jr. remained with the Corps until 1942, when he was drafted into the armed forces and served as a ball turret gunner in the Pacific. Returning home, John Patton Jr. returned to the mounds. He quickly distinguished himself in his field as the leader of renewed archaeological interest in large-scale mound excavations, which had been largely unattempted for half a century. In 1952, he became a professor at the University of Alabama, and in the years following published numerous articles on the mounds, and continued his research in the field. In 1965, Patton lost his job due to revised qualifications he refused to meet. Exactly why he refused is still unclear. He retired from anthropology completely and remained out of the public's eye for nearly 10 years. It's at this point that the facts abandon us. In 1973, Buried in the Mounds was published. The book detailed Patton's alleged discovery of evidence that early man was connected to extraterrestrials. Evidence in the form of anomalous skeletal remains. He claimed that this discovery was also the cause of the deaths of his two fellow cadets, and that it explained the cryptic message left by Tim Shaw in his makeshift tomb, "I found the Genesis." The book sold over 1 million copies to a fascinated public, but almost immediately the text was scrutinized by legitimate scientific institutions. The Alabama Archaeological Council even held a hearing in which Patton's entire body of work, a great collection of innovative archaeology, was discredited. After this, the whole affair began slowly fading from public memory.
John Patton Jr., well, some folks say he's crazy or did something unethical just for money. Well, people say a lot of things, all based on the book, but since most of them haven't even read the book, they base their opinions on what they've heard about the book. Nobody knows, nobody cares that he was the one person who really did love that place, Moundville. the mounds, their history, the people who built them, all of it. It was his life, and people think he just threw it away, but it was taken by ignorant, closed-minded realists and rationalists. Someone says the word alien, and it is a freaking witch hunt. You got to look at the thing critically. There may be no evidence that Patton found physical proof of an alien, but sure as hell there ain't no evidence to the contrary. None of the facts contradict a single thing he said. If you think about it carefully, they actually support him. You know, Dobbs and Shaw's death, the writing on the cave wall. I found the Genesis. Now, what could that mean?
According to Patton's book, somewhere in this mound, the anomalous remains, neither animal nor man, are, or at least were, buried. There has been no official attempt to recover them. The outlandishness of Patton's claims are by themselves enough to make most doubt. Sadly, the ridicule that was heaped on him in his time by scholars and media alike was only the natural human response to such a great, fearful unknown. But still, none of this bears any meaning as proof. In fact, a close examination of the facts does support Patton's testimony. Newspaper articles and police reports pertaining to the two cadets' deaths confirm Patton's story of finding their bodies in every detail. His story also provides the most plausible explanation for their deaths, and for Shaw's mysterious writing on the wall. Not a black market deal gone wrong. After all, the stolen artifacts were recovered at the scene, and this still wouldn't explain the cryptic message. Not a madness resulting from Shaw's severe fever, for this wouldn't explain the writing either. Only a horrible fear is a plausible explanation. A horrible despair at what must have seemed a horrible discovery.
The face alone was a terrible thing to see. So strange, so inhuman. But to realize that Shaw must have what this thing actually meant. The implications of this evidence. I suddenly found new meaning in the words fear and trembling.
Well, whether it was human or not, whether it was real or not is besides the point. The most important thing to understand is that the real truth is still out there, you know. Ignoring it isn't solving it. And that's what my film is about, essentially. Asking other people to bring out the truth.
So you think other people are going to start bringing out the truth?
Well, yeah, the process has begun, yes. You know, people are starting to ask questions about Moundville again. Maybe some people aren't asking wrong questions, but everybody's seeking the truth. I mean, what are you but a truth seeker? What would you be doing if you hadn't seen my film? They were all too eager to crucify John Patton Jr. without any investigation or critical thought given to him or his ideas. Whether or not something unnatural is buried in Moundville is not very important to me. What's important to me is that people understand the power of the mob to control the truth and how dangerous that is in all aspects of life.
The mystery, it seems, will only grow deeper with time. How can anything be certain? Who and what can we trust? John Patton Jr.'s claims or popular belief? Our faith or our skepticism? Our hearts or our minds? These questions could go on forever, but they come at a dead end with no possible answers. Certainty has become a fleeting, ephemeral thing. The French writer André Gide said, "Believe those who seek the truth. Doubt those who find it. Let no man of sound judgment say that the truth is within his grasp. He who claims such will be proven a fool." And yet, what else can we do? We are all of us driven to our despair by our own desperate souls. If there is a truth, it falls to fate or chance for the truth to make itself known. And until it does, we are lost, eternally seeking the truth that lies buried in Moundville.